Hi everyone. I'm just looking at my skin and thinking it's glowing, it's looking good. I hope this keeps. I really hope this stays. Um because I've never really struggled with acne, but there was a phase in my life, and I remember I was going through a lot of stress at that time at work when my skin broke out. I'm one of those teenagers who was fortunate enough to not have like acne in high school or after, or I haven't gotten pregnant, so I haven't gone through like those major hormonal changes. And in the interest of full disclosure, I was on the pill from when I came here, October of 2022, and by here I mean Germany, October of 2022, because I had just put in an implant, and I was hoping the implant would disappear my period because I have very, very heavy, very painful periods, or I had. So, of course, doctors had kept telling me, get on the pill, get on the pill. But when I went online, I saw very many women, and especially, I trust one, lived experience, and two, scientists. And not just any scientists, but people who are pro lifestyle change in the management of conditions, because that's what I'm about. So, I started to follow a nutritionist, Tamika Woods from Australia, I believe, and I engaged with her on email. I was like, okay, what's your story? And she shared her story with me. I hope I'm actually telling Tamika's story. If I'm not, it's ADHD brain, and I mean no disrespect, I will correct it. But I remember I spoke with a nutritionist who was focused on fertility and health and stuff like that. And she shared that her gut problem started when she had something going on and with her health, and she was treated with antibiotics over and over, or rather she went through like either whether it was over and over, or it was that they treated her with antibiotics and whatever the infection or illness was didn't go away. The point here is of the story is her gut health was affected, and as a result, other things happened to her health, and so she started to studied nutrition in order to understand that whole gut health balance and stuff like that. And then eventually she winds up finding like the thing that works for her, and I feel like that's very familiar, because when I studied nutrition, I remember in my third year I actually got depressed. And I'm not saying depressed for, oh gosh, I felt a little low. I was unable to get out of bed. I used to nosebleed. I was sad all the time. I couldn't sleep. I was just a mess. Shout out to Shiko. Shiko held me together. She was my campus roommate. She really held me together on those dark days. When I couldn't sleep, she would go on walks with me in Kenyatta University. I mean, like, Shiko has been my constant friend for a long time. And from those campus days between 2008 and 2011, when we were actually living together, because in 2012, I think I was done with coursework. So I was doing like my attachments and at the hospitals. I was in Kenyatta National Hospital in 2011. Absolutely loved and hated it in equal measure. I loved working with people. I hated the rules about don't hug a patient when they're crying, don't involve yourself in their personal lives. And I'm like, so if they are sad about their diagnosis or about their illness or about being on medication for the rest of their lives, and they're crying and they're a woman, I'm supposed to like sit there with my hands folded. So I kept breaking the rules. I kept breaking the rules because I was like, look, I'm a human being first. So, and I bonded with these patients, and I still remember them. I remember the ones we lost. I remember the ones who struggled, the ones who didn't make it out alive, and I also remember the ones who made it out alive, the ones who packed their bags and got to go home. Some of them with new babies, some of them with the medication they needed to manage their conditions, all of them feeling a little more empowered because I worked with an incredible team. I worked with a guy called Saki. Carlo Iskivanti, wherever you are, I loved working with you. And this is the same guy who, by the way, when I went through my depressed phase, he'd go to class, he'd take notes, and then he'd come and share his notes with me and literally teach me so that I'd be prepared for exams. I remember this one time when I was nose bleeding so profusely, he was like, "Give me that." And he rinses out off my washcloth and he puts it on the back of my neck. I literally feel like if I met this man today, and I owned 10 houses, I'd give him one. And not just because of that, it's because when we first met, the toxic masculinity was strong with him. But when we got to be friends and we got to learn about each other's pasts and how we had very similar stories, this man became my friend. He was my fierce defender. He was my boy. I miss him so much. I was there when his kid was, well, I wasn't there, but when his kid was born at a hospital close to where my mom used to stay, I went and he was sat in the car waiting because I think his missus was going through a procedure. I'm not sure, but either way, he had to wait in the car, and I mean, I that's the last time I saw him, and I haven't been able to get a hold of him. I've been trying to, but to find him. So if anyone sees this and they know where Saki is, please tell me how I can find my buddy, bad. And oh my gosh, the story has gone in a very different direction from the one I intended. But I think this is an important part of storytelling. Your allies. Who are the people who are there for you when you are going through this journey to becoming who you have become and were really, really there for you? My campus roommate and my other bestie, we were four girlfriends. She was Lydia Osendi, Judith Koki Chepkirui, and Helen Nyambura, Helen Wanjiro. Helen is Shiro, not Shiko. She's Shiko. Yeah, she's Shiko. So she's Wanjiro. Yes. Anyway, Nyambura. So Shiko was there, and so was Koki, and so was Lydia. And life sort of pulls you apart because you have kids, you get married, you move to another city or another town, and then you guys wind up in the same city again, and then you pick up from where you left off. And the thing I love about these friends is that, and you've noticed most of them are women, even when we have these phases where we don't talk for a year, we don't talk for 6 months, we fall out because someone said something that was misunderstood and someone was in a weird space because their mother was doing the most or their father was doing the most or their siblings were going through the most and they had to be there. We are all parentified children. And so because of that, um sometimes people just differ, people fall out, people go and have to focus on adulting and taking care of business, and then you guys find each other again. That's the thing I love about this. We have a way of, even though I haven't talked to so and so for 6 months, I know how she's doing because our other mutual friend has been in touch with her. Even though I'm not talking to so and so because we differed over something, our mutual friend checks in, and because we are all adults, I'm able to go like, so how so and so, she's fine right now, like, okay, cool. And we won't gossip. It will just be, you guys are still not talking. I'm like, we are not, it's okay, we'll find our way. Whether that means we will be friends again one day or this is the end of the friendship and they were supposed to be here for a season, is fine. But that doesn't mean I don't still care for them. So let me give you another interesting example. So my partner and I are not together anymore, so we parted ways, and it was fairly amicable. Fairly meaning, it was fine until it wasn't. And when I say it wasn't, I mean there's a time when things got really ugly because there were lots of emotions. But this week we had a conversation, literally like 2 days ago, and the fact that what hasn't changed is that we still care for each other. It doesn't mean we are in love with each other. It means we care for each other. And there's a huge difference. And this is why I keep telling people it is possible to co-parent with someone if there was love. If there was legit love, like I really loved this person, I wanted what was best for them and I wanted them to be happy, and it's just we realized this isn't working for us anymore. There's a divorce lawyer I really like. I forget his name, but he's been on Diary of a CEO, and I've shared that podcast, that episode with everyone who I know is either going through a separation, divorce, blah blah blah, breakup from a civil union, because I wasn't officially married. And of course, there are people who feel the need to remind me, but you are not married. It's not the same. You're not going through what the rest of us were going through. And I'm like, because I didn't sign a certificate and because I didn't wear a white dress. Marriage is building with someone. I did business with this person when I was 25. I met his entire village. I considered having kids with him. It's just my mental health does not allow me to have children, and also I have no desire for children from the womb. But I loved his family, and I loved the children in that family, and I loved him. So anyways, we're amicable, and one of the things I enjoyed was getting back to, oh, by the way, this is happening in this and this place, so you might want to be careful about going there, or because he knows I don't read the news. That's not going to change. And then he goes, oh, and by the way, so and so is dealing with this, so maybe reach out to them because you guys are friends. Oh, and so is going through this, but they're kind of pissed off with you because of the breakup, so maybe don't reach out to them. And he was able to just give me a sort of heads up, highlights, and I was like, oh, you're cool. And I was like, oh yeah, our mutual friends, who are really his friends, they're the ones who've lived abroad with him like all this while, and I only came here 2 years ago. So they're going to visit him, and I was like, okay, fine. So when so and so comes, like we were able to have a discussion about what needs to be done, who needs to be checked on, what unfinished business do we have. Like our monies were tied. He's the one who brought me here, and I've shared this publicly so that people know I acknowledge my privilege. And so of course there's a certain amount of money I'm returning to him. Now, people have opinions on this as well. Oh my god, you owe him nothing. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I do owe him something. I owe him for the fact that he brought me here, and we had had a conversation about this before we got back together. So I am honoring that. Ladies, let's normalize, if a man gave you a loan to get whatever, a new phone, to pay your deposit because all you could afford was rent, let's normalize paying them back. My female friends pay men back. And these men are shocked because they're like, I didn't know women pay back loans. Because every woman I've given money and she said was a loan, she said it was a loan, has refused to pay me back. Like, you're a man. Oh, I have needs. Your money is my money. I'm like, why do we do that? Why do we actually do that? Because then you're furthering the idea that women are all about money, that we're all hoes, we're all gold diggers, we're only in this for the money. I'm like, let's not do that. Let's be honest around money. And then also, men, please pay women for their work. Pay us for emotional labor. Pay us for physical labor. Pay us not just because we have birthed children for you, but because we contributed to the relationship. I hate the question, what are you bringing to the table? Everything is currency. I am bringing my body, so we are having sex. I am bringing my time. I am bringing, very many women are therapists to their partners. Very few men who are in heterogeneous relationships are in therapy. I will pause. They need it, but they don't go. Because when we go, men feel like they're also going. And actually, they are going. So, for instance, when I went for therapy and I paid for it for myself, I would come back and share insights with my partner, which is why he had no problem with, when I was short on cash, he paid for my therapy. We went through it together. We really need to start treating each other with dignity. Secondly, we really need to stop treating women like they're more valuable only if they've given birth. I remember the first time I told a Christian lady that I didn't want to have kids, and she's like, the only people I know who don't want kids are people who've had trauma. And I'm like, why would you say that to someone? We need to learn how to use our inside voices and stop talking. Let's learn how to just shh. If someone shares a story with you, Don't listen to react. I've had a fight like this with someone today. A man who came to my inbox, my WhatsApp, to complain about something I'd posted and said, don't. I said, I shared something from LinkedIn. The post was by a man who's an advocate, and he's Palestinian, and he's an ally to the feminist movement, I would believe, because he said, it is only men who are insecure who feel the need to tell women to wear a hijab or to tell women not to wear a hijab. What I understood from the post was, let women decide for themselves whether or not to wear a hijab or what to wear. Let us stop policing women's decisions and their bodies and their dress and all that. I share that, and a Christian man, always a religious man, feels the need to tell me, but you know something happened in France. Have you not read? I told him, first of all, our lived experiences are different. So me, I don't know what you're telling me. I don't know where men get the audacity to read something you've posted and come to your comments or your inbox, literally to your house, to tell you how to correct your perspective. Have you read? The Telegraph is a respected newspaper in the UK, and they recently wrote a disturbing article on how autism can be reversed. I have ADHD. I've worked with kids who have autism, and I am still working with kids who have autism. I have indicated before, I find it very problematic when mainstream media produces shows like The Good Doctor, painting autism and ADHD and all these other neurodivergent mental health disorders as this glorified thing. I absolutely can't stand it when I meet people who say, I'm a little OCD. It makes me mad because I have OCD. It's a debilitating condition. It's not a sexy thing as depicted in Monk, the show where you can solve crimes. We need to re-educate ourselves and understand mental health conditions are debilitating. The reason why anxiety and depression usually accompany all the others is because your life is hell. And as someone correctly posted on LinkedIn, and I've shared that before, I think I'm going to share these links at the end of this video. I want us to educate ourselves. By the time you open your mouth to tell someone that something happened in France, have you read that? Have you seen the videos of white French policemen beating up black men? I've seen at least one video. Have you seen yet another black woman has been killed in the US by a white man? So when a fair-skinned black man from privilege who is sheltered and is religious starts tone policing me and denying my lived experience because he has to share his story, I get pissed off. And when I try and tell you there's no discussion to be had here, but you continue typing, I block you. Men are not my first priority. I am a dark, black woman. Women will always be my first priority. Next will be children. Men, if I have the capacity. Because we live in a man's world. We live in a world where black women are unsafe from all men. White men and black men. So let me give you an interesting statistic. Let me actually tell you a story because I am an African and ours is storytelling. It's not just about the numbers, it's about people's lived experiences, which we cannot deny. I have been conducting interviews with people and discovering that black and brown women are really fetishized in Germany. And I know women have rights here, but white women. And let me tell you why. I will say that with all the chest, because I know black women who have been shamed by social workers for being abused by their ex-husbands because they're black women, and not just black women, dark black women. Skinny women like me are treated better than plus size women, especially when they have accents like mine, when you speak the nasal British English. You are treated very differently. If you speak with an American accent, you're treated better. However, we are looked at like trophies. And I realized this when I made a friend, actually, let's say an associate. Um, I met someone, we hit it off. They invited me to a spa. I told them I don't let white men spend on me. I don't actually let any man spend on me, but especially white men because I have my dignity and my self-respect, and I can't stand the thought of someone treating me like a trophy or a side piece. And he understood where I was coming from because he'd overheard a lot of the conversations I had very loudly on my phone with a friend and then later with my therapist about how objectified I feel in Germany. And so he said, no, this is how much it costs. And I said, that's an amount I can afford. And for me, my mark is 10 euros. That's an amount I can afford. And he said, I'm actually going to be paying by card because I'm a member. And when we left, he paid €1 60 for each of us, which you can spend €1 60 on me. I don't mind. So when we went to the spa, I was the only black person there. And they had a steam room, like steam and sauna. So when people went in there, because apparently this is a thing that happens here, read up on FKK in Germany, FKK. People took off their towels and they sat there naked. And I was like, well, good for you. I am not taking off mine because I will not be consumed like exotic fruit. Why? Because we're in Germany and I'm black in Germany, and I know, and I have been told time and time again by older white men things that are disgusting and too disturbing to repeat here because this is YouTube. But yeah, I know what it's like to be treated like exotic fruit, and I know what it's like for a man to actually tell me that he'd like to taste me, and I know what it's like because he's not had black. And I know what it's like to hear the same stories repeated by other black women who've either had a beer shaken between their boobs because, they have big boobs by a white man, or because they've had a white man hold up a beer to their face and compare their skin complexion to that beer because it has the name that rhymes with nigger. I've met people who've told me their interracial kids have been told they have skin the color of poop. These are 7-year-olds, 4-year-olds. Yeah, they're no bad children. They are just children with bad parents or bad adults in their lives because they're no bad children. There's no racist 3-year-old. These are things you learn. And let me tell you, kids are sponges. I love children. They come to kindergarten and they spew all the stuff they see and hear at home. When you hear a 4-year-old go like, F you, it's because there's an adult who curses at home. Which is why I also tell people the day you choose to have children, please choose to have children. It's not a box you're checking. Prepare them for the world. Because when a black child curses in a classroom full of white kids who don't curse, or even if they also curse, they'll be treated very differently from everyone else. Why are you making your child's life difficult? Grow up and be the adult. I had started off by talking about the journey. I am here rethinking my life in Germany. Like, I've already decided I'm not coming back to this country when I leave. I have made up my mind. And that if I have to come back, it's to finish my master's, then I am gone. There is no amount of money that you will pay me to continue to live in Germany and speak German. There is no amount of money that you will pay me as we speak right now to live and work in Germany. None. Because no one tells you about the racism related stress. No one tells you how hard it is for you to leave the house, because I'm in a predominantly white neighborhood right now. I finished a cleaning job. The owner of the house has left me the key to do the cleaning because that's how they support me. And they're a black African, like they're a dark black African. And they understand the struggles because this particular individual has been helping so many women. So women, so many women have been helped by this person because of the fetishization of Black women. And 10 toes down, there's no one who's going to convince me to. Do you know friends have even offered to live with me? They're like, just stay with us. We love having you in this country fighting for our rights and speaking up against what we're going through because we don't have the courage to do so, or we don't have the privilege to do so because our countries have been ripped apart by war, so I have nothing to go back to. I have privilege, and I told you I call my privilege, I speak on it so that no one compares their lives to mine, and yet they are not the same. I'm an only child, so I don't have to pay black tax. I am a foster mom to adult children, and only one child who's 10, who has a parent who is responsible. So I don't have to think about school fees every term. It's maybe twice a year. I I am loud and proud. And people who don't speak up, people who are introverted, people who are afraid to speak up because there are consequences for speaking up, they are not any less courageous than I am. Because this is the thing about divide and conquer that I completely disagree with. Industrialization made us believe that we're supposed to be batch made, and that I keep looking at her eyes. That we're supposed to be batch made, and it refuses to celebrate unity in diversity. Unity in diversity is a Christian teaching that I hold to. It's an African teaching because in Africa, because I don't believe in a blonde, blue-eyed Jesus, by the way, he was either dark brown or just brown. Yeah, ancient Israelites were not white. I'm saying this very intentionally. Ancient Israel, the one talked about in the Bible, they all looked like more like this than they did like the pictures we have of Jesus on TV and paintings. I felt the need to point that out for all the people who are holding on to very strongly Islamophobia. And yes, Christians, I'm calling you out as well. So yes, I believe in a dark brown Jesus who may have also possibly been passed for black. Yes. And he was a feminist, which is why I'm a feminist, because I am a Christian who's also pro black supremacy, and because I am black, because when I wake up every day and I look in the mirror, I see a black woman, and I am proud of my melanin, because black don't crack. But my point is this: we need to start shutting down this comparison rabbit hole. One of the posts I have put up as a comment on someone else's post, who's now become a friend, a girlfriend, is on how organic the journey to where I am has been. I started off as a receptionist, and then I was a business center manager, and then I worked at a call center for a weight loss company. But they also needed nutritionists because we had to know what to say when people called in. And it was because of what I learned at that last company, in the first and the second, that I was able to start my own practice in 2018. I had been doing a side hustle from 2012 where I would see clients after work or during my lunch break. And sometimes during my lunch break, I would do nutrition mentorship with Dr. Alice Ndong. And my bosses were tough, but they're the reason why I'm here. It's always women. It's always women. And I hear people say, oh gosh, I don't like having a female manager. And I tell them, at least your female manager will not try and sleep with you. At least she'll not smack your bum when you walk past her desk. Or if she does, your fear is not that she'll rape you. I'm an entrepreneur, so I know what it's like to go for those golf meetings and to go for those beer meetings, because Germans love beer, and to always fear that you're the only black person in a room. You're always afraid for your safety and your life as a Black woman. So please believe Black women when they say they feel unsafe. Stop telling them, but you're in Germany, so the police there will arrive. Yeah, I'm Black. There are women who've called the police and been killed in the US. Here, you call the police and sometimes your landlord decides to evict you because you're too dramatic. This is based on life events, by the way. I'm not making up stories. Being Black in Germany is hard. Being Black in the US is life-threatening. Being Black in Australia is life-threatening. Being Black in the UK is life-threatening. And even brown. The UK is a class, has serious class issues. So that there are certain brown people who are white on the inside. And it's true about Germany as well. I'm tempted to say I'm grateful for the broken road that led me here. I am, but I'm also really angry as a result of it. No one wants to go through sexual assault. That's not even something I'd wish on any woman, even a Karen. I would never wish rape or sexual assault on anyone. It's dehumanizing, and it lives with you and it sticks with you and you carry it for the rest of your life. Your life is never the same again. Believe Black women. Believe Black women when we talk, and not just because PDD got away with dragging a woman. You know, there are videos I've not even watched. I've heard descriptions. I'm like, I can't watch a video of someone getting unalived. I can't, not anymore, not after George Floyd. Because I still hear him in my head crying out for his mother with a white man sticking his knee on his neck until he died. I can't stand people who tell me to be grateful and positive when they have white skin or when they're Arabs. I can't. Because I know of all the Black women who've been murdered in the Middle East, who've been raped, who have come home in caskets. It happens to dark Black women, sometimes at the hands of other women and sometimes at the hands of men. And because I know I'm at the bottom of the ladder, I have to speak on these things. When we share our stories, because this is where I started off, yeah, about how I got here and my journey and everything. I'm currently detoxing. I hate using that phrase because it's misused. I was on the pill, I've gotten off it. So my skin is not going to be as yummy unless I hydrate and take vegetables consistently. There's PCOS linked to getting off the pill. Is it being on the pill? But the pill and PCOS are linked. There are micronutrient deficiencies that women suffer when they're on the pill. So I have to start taking my multivitamins, my omega-3, my zinc, my magnesium, because I have fibroids and they've more than doubled in size since I came to Germany because stress and poor quality food. And I missed my flight to Kenya. On Wednesday, story for another day, but ADHD is the summary. I left my passport 8 hours away. They could not let me transfer to another airport. It was just a crap show, crap fest. On top of that, I've written to indicate that to my campus that I have depression. My professors were cool, supportive, make sure you get the help you need. What can we do? And then the last person who writes me says, I spoke to the doctor too late. And I told them, you need to inform yourself and educate yourself on mental health issues. I actually wrote this in an email to someone who could very easily decide they don't want me to pass this class. I mean, to be deregistered from the exam because I didn't sit the exam because I was going through a major depressive, I was going through a proper depressive episode. But I placed the request for deregistration the night before the exam was due. It was in the wee hours of the morning. The exam report was due by 12 noon. And my professors responded. And some of them, I mean, like, And the lady I was told to write to the student center. I wrote to the student center. The lady was very empathetic. The last person, who for now will remain unnamed, was like, oh yeah, I can't accept this from your therapist because you saw your doctor too late. And I'm like, you know how depression works. And I copied my therapist, and she's upset with me as well because she has all the papers showing she's qualified to diagnose me as having depression and anxiety and burnout. So this person clearly doesn't know how that works. I've told them to go do their research. And then when they come back to me, they need to tell me whether I'm having my therapist write something different. And they should copy her in the email because I copied her. Or whether I'm taking this up with either the dean or the president of the university, whoever comes first. Because I'm not going to get a fail and I have an average of 2. Because that affects my future prospects with regard to getting funding for a PhD. I will not let an uneducated white person of German descent do that. Not while I know my rights. Not while I know that discrimination on grounds of mental health, especially from someone from the global majority, is a hot topic right now. I will ride that wave because I did the right thing. I will not be punished for having depression and anxiety and burnout. Not while there's racism related stress in Bayern. Because if I start opening my mouth on social media, they will not know what hit them. And is this a threat? Yes. I've already told my supervising professor that I'm an angry Black woman. I will do anything in my power to advocate for myself because no one else will advocate for me other than another Black woman or an ally like my female professors. That's a lot, eh? It's 37 minutes. I'm sharing this because every time I share my story, someone watches this and they feel seen, they feel inspired, they share it with a friend, and they realize they're not alone. That's my ikigai. That's my life purpose. To help people realize they're not alone in this journey. To help them realize that they're welcome in this world, even though the world makes them feel unwelcome. My target audience is primarily people of color, women of color, Black women, dark Black women from the African continent, and children of all colors and ethnicities, because I love kids. Kids deserve to be loved by everyone. So keep well, take care of yourself. Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't deserve to take space in this world. You are capable, you are enough, and you are worthy of love. Peace out. I will keep you guys posted on my off the pill journey as I go along, as I go through it. I may not post about it every day. I don't think I have the capacity, but I had to do this post because my birthday is on Sunday and I have plans. And today I'm just taking a period break because it's day 3 and day 3 needs rest. Yeah, so sending you warmth and light. Have a good one. Mwah.